Now, Treasury Cabinet Secretary nominee Professor Ndung'u says if confirmed by Parliament, his first order of business will be to source soft loans which will allow Kenya to retire the country's expensive domestic debt. Ndung'u says that under his leadership, the National Treasury will abide by the laid public finance management framework, including tapping into supplementary budgets only for emergencies. Brian George has that story.
Treasury Cabinet Secretary nominee Professor Ndung'u says that his first order of business, should he receive Parliament's green light to occupy the office on the 14th floor of National Treasury, will be to reprofile Kenya's 8.8 trillion shillings public debt.
The best would be to look for concession of financing that would retire most of the debt, especially the domestic debt, which is very, very expensive. It's taking quite a large proportion of recurrent expenditure, about to the tune of about 33%. So that will be the starting point.
The vetting committee took Ndung'u to task over his past engagements, notably the sale of the Grand Regency Hotel and the alleged irregular award of 1.2 billion shillings tender while he served as the governor of the Central Bank of Kenya.
I have been a victim of abuse of the criminal justice system. The case, for example, for the procurement, I fought it through the courts to the Court of Appeal, and there was a judgment. The case of Grand Regency, I think the statement is that I was adversely mentioned. I was an agent of government, and this was a government-to-government sale, and I was the one to negotiate and to receive the payment, which was actually received by the government.
Ndung'u was also taken to task over his alleged unprofessional conduct with the management of Imperial Bank Limited just months before the bank was placed under receivership in October 2015. Ndung'u denied that the bank had paid for a holiday trip for his wife, Nancy Ndung'u.
The trip to Thailand took place in 2014. We were paying him in advance to go, so it was a trip that was paid for. You pay him. So it took place, we paid.
He was an agent.
He was an agent of that particular resort, and you paid him directly.
Reports, correspondence and transactions between Mrs. Ndung'u and the late Imperial Bank Director Jan Mohammed are filed in court as part of the evidence that the CBK at the time was complicit in the lender's alleged multi-billion shilling fraud. All these to date have not been dispensed with. Brian George, NTV, Nairobi.